Hi, hello. Welcome back to the How Far You've Come podcast. This is technically not like another episode. It's just more, oh my gosh, hang on. My microphones. Okay, I don't know how much time I'm going to get out of this microphone. I have literally tried to record this 3 times. So, yeah. Anyway, this is not technically another episode. I just kind of wanted to follow up to my testimony that I shared yesterday. I know it probably seemed chaotic and all over the place, and that makes sense because in my head, in my memory, my testimony, my childhood, the way I grew up, the way I met God, it was very chaotic. I said in the video yesterday, I felt like my childhood was like a tornado, like it had been picked up and just thrown back down, and I was left to pick up the pieces and figure out what to do next. So I kind of wanted to come back and maybe share some things that I forgot to share, maybe elaborate on some things that I talked about, um, because I kind of left a big gap in my testimony, and that was mainly from my relationship with my dad. The years that kind of went by without me talking to him or talking about him yesterday. And I kind of just wanted to add to it, elaborate, hopefully make more sense. If you guys care, that's great. If not, you don't have to watch this. But it's more for, I guess, me to get to the gist of things, which I have a hard time doing sometimes. Sometimes I can just take forever to get to the point. But we're gonna try, and hopefully this thing doesn't die because this one literally just died. I need to charge them, so we're gonna get to it. Like I said yesterday, if you haven't watched the video yet, I shared my testimony. Go watch that first. It's about 30 minutes, if you have the time, and then you can watch this one. I think I was a little worried because I'm like, okay, it's been 30 minutes. I'm still talking, and I just kind of rushed myself. So I don't want to do that today. I do have a little more time today than I did yesterday. So I know that I shared with you guys that my parents divorced when I was 2. My dad was an alcoholic. He later became a drug addict. He remarried. I didn't have the best relationship with my stepmom. I saw abuse in the home. I saw a very adult things that I shouldn't have seen in the home. Um, and when I came back to my mom's, it was more peaceful there. I know that she struggled with mental health. She was a single mom for a long time. We struggled financially, and it was just tough. It was tough. I definitely had a childhood that wasn't, I guess, your typical childhood. Um, I didn't grow up, I feel like, at the rate that most kids grow up at. Like my kid, for instance, he's 7, and I definitely feel like he is having like that cool, fun childhood. He's being 7 years old, and that was always my goal before I had kids. I always told my husband, I was like, listen, it's really important for our children to see us having a healthy marriage, healthy relationship. Does that mean that we should never argue? No, but I don't want to fight in front of my children. I If they see us have um, a discussion where we don't agree, I want them to see us make up, and I just want them to see like a healthy dynamic. 2 people who love each other, who love Jesus, who put him first, and who put each other second. And I want them to see a healthy marriage. So that was like my whole thing with my son, because I didn't grow up that way. I grew up seeing fighting, abuse, alcoholism, um, just very sexual things like I shared yesterday. And I never wanted that for my own children. So I feel like I've done a pretty good job. I will pat myself on the back that so far my kid has had a wonderful childhood. Nothing he's had to worry about, slamming doors, people screaming, yelling, weird random people coming in and out of the house, which is what I grew up with. Um, so yeah, I guess that's like a preface to this video. It'll probably be all over the place again because that's just who I am as a person. So do with that what you will. Okay, so anyway, when I was growing up, we used to go to the beach with my dad every summer. This was before he got in a really bad accident. I think I mentioned yesterday he was a truck driver, like the really big trucks. So we used to go to the beach a lot. Other than that, I never really had vacations. When we went camping with my mom and her husband at the time, here and there. But that was really the only vacation I ever had, was going to the beach with my dad. Um, and it was okay. My dad, I'm sorry, I have like sinus stuff in this weather. I'm in North Carolina and this weather's terrible. Anyway, I never had a great relationship with my dad. I shared that yesterday. I had a very distorted view of what a father-daughter relationship looked like because I didn't have one. And so it was kind of like we never really bonded. I guess on the vacations he just pushed us off on the woman he was with, and he did his own thing. Um, and then he had his accident. He had a really bad accident, got hurt, got hooked on pain medication, which just kind of snowballed into bigger things. And there was a point in time where there were people coming in and out of our house that my dad said were his friends. And at the time, I'm a young kid. I'm probably like 10, 11, around that age. So I didn't really think anything of it. But now, as I got older and I looked back, I realized that those were drug deals happening, people coming in and out. And I didn't realize it, obviously, at the time. And, as you get older, you really start to figure out who your parents are or who your parents were. This is driving me nuts because it's telling me that my phone is crooked. I can't fix it. Oh, wait. Okay, that worked. Um, chaos. But you really start to figure out who your parents are, who they were, what kind of things they were doing, whether you were there or not, etc. And I'm sorry if you guys hear a big rush of wind. My air just kicked on. I know I have on a long sleeve shirt, but I like to keep it cool in my house. Like, I like to be able to put blankets on and bundle up and all of that while it's also cool in the house. So that's just me. Um, anyway, so as I got older, I started realizing those things that were happening. And there was one night where I was asleep on the couch because there wasn't enough beds or rooms for the woman that my dad was dating at the time and her children. So I was asleep on the couch and I could just feel this man like breathing in my ear. It was some random guy that came through the house, and I was so terrified. And I just remember that being like the first time that I was really scared and didn't feel safe to be at my dad's house. Um, and I have two older sisters, and they kind of stopped going after a certain amount of time. But I tried to cling so hard to any kind of relationship I could with my dad because I didn't understand why we didn't connect the way that I saw my friends and their dads connect. I didn't understand why he didn't want a relationship with me, or maybe he didn't know how to have a relationship with me. And that was just really hard for me. I was very young and I was confused as to why our relationship didn't look like my friends and their dad's relationship. So I continued going to his house, and things just kind of got worse. He was drinking a lot. He was not a very nice person when he was drunk. I saw him abuse the women that he was with. Um, and it was just scary. There were times where I just kept my shoes on when I got there because I knew that a fight was going to lead to us leaving and going to stay somewhere else. The cops maybe were called, and it became just this domestic thing. And it was just very much chaotic. It was a lot of chaos. It was things that no child should have to witness. But a lot of kids do, unfortunately, and that's the sad part. So I'm trying to think because I don't want to I don't want to like leave anything out, but there's so many things that happen that I can't remember it all, honestly, and some things I don't want to remember, and that's okay too. Um, but I'm getting older. I'm starting to realize more things, see more things. I'm getting angrier. I was a very angry teenager. I just had so many. Okay, my phone keeps cutting me off because it keeps saying that I need to free up space, and I'm not buying more storage. I'm just not going to do that. So, anyway, I'm honestly not even sure where I ended the last video before it so rudely cut me off. But I guess I was sharing as I got older, I was angry. I didn't know how to handle it because I hadn't been taught how to give things to God, I guess. Like, I was always told, like, yeah, read your Bible, go to church, kind of like a checklist of things to do to make sure that I could get into heaven. So I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't know how to cultivate a relationship with God. I didn't know what that looked like. And I had no one to really show me that. So I just struggled. I struggled with it. Um, and I turned to just being angry and kind of fueling my emotions into the music I listened to or writing. I loved to write. So I would write books. I would do journaling and all this stuff. I was a teenager at this time. Um, and there are certain things that I remember vividly, kind of big things, like my high school graduation. My dad did not come. And I just remember him calling me and yelling at me and being like, "Why didn't you tell me it was today?" And I'm like, "I graduated with your brother's kid. Like, you knew when the graduation was." It was just, I'm telling you guys this just to show you kind of a look into the victim mentality that my dad carried around for a really long time. Um, and that's hard for a teenager to deal with. So I was very angry that day. It was just terrible. Um, and then that kind of snowballed into me starting college, meeting new people, meeting new friends, dabbling, into alcohol and smoking and clubbing, partying, all the things. During this time, I would say I hadn't seen my dad in about 5 years. So yeah, it was about 5 years. So me and my sisters, we met up with him one day at a restaurant, and it went really terrible. I'll just say that it went really terrible. Um, he didn't apologize for anything. We ended up arguing. We were crying. We left, and there was just no closure. I think that was my issue for so long is I never got closure. And anytime I saw him, we just argued and we fought, and I was so mad at him. I just wanted him to be my dad. Like, I just wanted him to apologize and to work on himself so that we could work on our relationship. Um, so it was just a lot of me just begging for that kind of love that I wasn't receiving, and that I also didn't realize I could receive from my heavenly Father, but I didn't look at God in that way when I was younger. I didn't look at him in a way that was like, okay, I can bring all of these things that are so heavy on my heart and that are such big burdens to me. And I can bring that to him. I can lay that at his feet and surrender it, and he will take it from me. He just wants a relationship with me. And it took me, honestly, years to realize that. I would say probably like my mid to late 20s is when I finally started praying differently, praying more bold prayers. Because the thing is, you guys, God can handle way more than we think He can. We think that He can. Yeah, I feel like I said that weird. But we don't realize just how much He can handle. And if you really sit down and think about it, He has time for you. He has time for your little things. He has time for your big things. And I said this yesterday too, but it's so important to just kind of reiterate that. There's nothing too big, there's nothing too little for God, and chances are he already knows what it is. He's just waiting for you to lay it at his feet. Um so yeah, I don't know if there is much more to share with you guys. Um I made the choice to not invite my dad to my wedding. I've been married for a little over 10 years now, and I got married back in September in 2015. And I remember I was kind of wrestling with just going back and forth on whether I wanted to invite him or not, because I was scared. I was scared that we would get in an argument, or he would be, it would just cause drama, or it would just be awkward. We had a really awkward relationship. So, I made the choice not to. And sometimes when I think about it, I do regret not inviting him, but even as a Christian, it's okay to set boundaries with people. Even Jesus had boundaries with people. And it's okay to set those boundaries. I would say pray about it first, take it to God, ask him what boundaries he wants you to set with this person, and kind of go from there. But I just chose not to. And when I had my son, I was terrified to let my dad know, to let him be around my son, because I didn't know. I got cut off again. But I remember where I stopped. Okay. I said, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who my dad was. I didn't have a relationship with him. He was a stranger to me. So that's why I chose not to let him know when my son was born. We went many more years not really talking. He never met my son. And I would say about a year before he passed away, we got on the phone, we were talking, and he told me that he got saved, which was one of my prayers for many years, especially in my 20s. Was I just prayed every day, like, God, please, like, just touch his heart, just reach down and just grab him and just show him that you're there. um and so he told me he did get saved, and he was a completely different person. It was weird, it was crazy. He started asking me things about myself. I'm going to keep trying this as many times as it takes, because I'm getting this out there, dang it. Okay. So with my son, and then I was talking about how we kind of reconnected. I reconnected with my dad. He still never got the chance to meet my son in person, which makes me sad, but they did video chat. And when he passed, it was really hard. I didn't realize how hard it would be for me, because we never had a close relationship. But I think it was so hard because I was getting to know a new version of him, and I I had such little time to do that. But I'm so thankful, that I know where he is, and I'm thankful that he's not suffering anymore, that his body isn't suffering anymore, his mind isn't suffering anymore. So that was a huge answered prayer. And grief is so weird. It creeps up every now and then. And I deal with it. I let it, be what it is. But yeah, that's kind of my journey with my relationship with my dad, and then how my relationship with God developed. And I'm in such a great spot now with God. I finally came to the realization that, okay, if I want a relationship with him, I have to put in that work too. Like, it's not just all him. I can't just be like, God, can't you just take this for me? Can't you just do this for me? Yes, he can, but he wants us to meet him halfway as well. Um, and definitely one thing that I'm struggling with right now is infertility. I've been very open about that on here before, but I struggle with secondary infertility. Me and my husband have been trying to have another baby for 4 years now, and it's incredibly hard. It is incredibly hard. It's probably one of the hardest things that I've ever been through, I'll be honest. It's also one of the biggest things that I struggle with. And I think just giving over 100% control and surrendering it 100% to God has been really hard. I'm going to try and use a different video platform for this and hope that it works. Um, but I was talking about my secondary infertility and how hard it's been to surrender that over to God. And it's still something that I'm working on. It's still something that I'm dealing with and going through. And it's been such a hard process. And in this season that we're in right now, my son is getting older and he's asking more questions and he's so curious about why he doesn't have a sibling, why I'm not getting pregnant. And there are so many people around me, I'm not even joking, that are pregnant right now. And I'm so happy for them. So happy. But I was talking to my doctor one day and she said, you can grieve for yourself and still be joyful for other people. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Um, and every month that passes and my period's just a few days later or whatever it may be, and I take a test and it's negative, it's hard. um, and I'm trying not to get emotional because I've just it's taken so much out of me. But if you're in a waiting season right now and it's similar to mine, I just want to encourage you that it's okay to feel the feelings that you need to feel. It's okay to sit in that. It doesn't make you any less of a Christ follower. It doesn't mean that you love God any less or trust Him any less. It just means you're human. It means that you're dealing with a really hard thing. And I fully believe that God sits with me in the grief and sits with me in the hurting. And I fully believe that one day we will add to our family. Um, and I just pray for that. I pray for the kids that we will add to our family, whether it is through pregnancy or adoption or whatever it may be. Um, I fully believe that we will add to our family one day. God has not taken that desire from me. So, I'm going to keep having faith. Um, and I just pray that over whoever is struggling as well, that you just keep the faith. His timeline is so much different than ours. We get in such a hurry to go, 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 do, do, do. And he is not in a hurry. So I try to remind myself of that, to just pray for what will be and to just be joyful in what is right now. Um, I think that's all I wanted to share, you guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. Like I said before, I'm an open book. I'm more than happy to share all of these things with you guys, pray for you guys, come together with you, pray over you, talk to you, whatever it may be. But I just cut me off again. I pray that this helps someone in any way if they're struggling. And I love you guys. Bye.